everyone! Thanks for tuning into my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet an easy mitten. I made the pattern beginner friendly and I'll give you as much detail as I can in the video. This easy mitten pattern can also be matched with my famous beer mitten pattern, so you can have a set with one mitten and one beer mitten, and I'll leave a link in the description to that tutorial so you can check that out. For today, we're going to make an adult medium size, although the written pattern includes details for 8 different sizes for adult and for youth, and it is available for sale on my website at lj.com, and I'll leave a link in the description for that. Okay, let's get to materials. Materials needed for the adult medium size mittens include about 200 yards of a medium worsted weight yarn. I would recommend for the beginners out there just a solid color acrylic. This is just by Loops and Threads. You can get a medium weight acrylic almost at any department store. It's readily available and inexpensive. Solid colors are also easier to see and work with, so that's why I would recommend that for beginners. If you want something more luxurious, I would recommend this merino wool yarn from Arcane Fiberworks. This color is called Bountiful Bouquet, and this is just a really good quality, beautiful, and easy to work with yarn. It is going to be a little more expensive than an acrylic and maybe harder to work with though with the variegated colors. So grab any worsted medium weight yarn you have. I maybe wouldn't recommend a cotton yarn just because cotton is more of a summer fiber and we want something warm for the mittens, right? So stick with either a synthetic or a type of wool. And then you're also going to need a 4mm crochet hook. You could also use a 4.5 if the 4 is feeling a little small for the worsted weight yarn, a yarn needle to weave in your ends, a ruler to check gauge, and a pair of scissors. Okay, let's get started. To get started, leave a tail about 12 inches so you have plenty of room to weave in your end, and make a slip knot. And the way I make a slip knot is I will take part of the yarn and I twist it, and then I'll come up through that loop with 2 fingers, and I'm going to pick up the working side of the yarn and pull it up through there and tighten it. Okay? Now insert your hook and tighten that loop. Not too tight, you don't want it right up against your hook, just with a little bit of wiggle room to work with. Okay, and for the adult medium size, we're going to chain 28. So a chain, our most basic chain, is a yarn over, and we're going to pull through this loop on our hook. And I like to give it a little bit of tension here by holding this tail with my 2 fingers. Give it some tension so you can pull a loop through your loop. Okay, another chain, yarn over, and I'm also rotating my hook down. That might be easier for some people. Make sure your hook is facing down and pull through the loop. Yarn over, pull through a loop. Okay, that was 3. We need to do 28. Again, yarn over, pull a loop through your loop. Okay, and you can just keep creating tension with your middle and thumb by holding this while you yarn over. Make another chain. You can just work your way up. It's going to be a little bit easier to chain when there's some tension on here. Okay, we're going to do 28, and then we'll move on to our first round. We can do a preliminary gauge check here. With your ruler, measure out your 28 chain. You want it to be about 7 inches. Here we go. We are starting this pattern at the cuff of the mitten, so this 7 inches is going to be for a 7-inch wrist. So that's the adult medium size. Otherwise, for different sizes, you would do more or less chain to begin with. We're going to check gauge again though at round 2 because we're going to be doing half double crochet stitch, and so the spacing might be a little bit different, and I think we'll get a more accurate reading at round 2 as far as gauge goes. So we're going to continue on. Make sure your work isn't twisted, and we're going to bring the first and last stitch together. And the best way to do this is like this. Okay, it's just gonna, versus like this way is not gonna line up as nicely as if we bring our two ends together like this, because you want those 2 stitches on top and the 1 bottom loop below. And what we're gonna do to connect these is a slip stitch. So insert your hook through that very first chain. You want those 2 loops on top here, okay? 1 loop below. And with your working yarn, yarn over and pull through the chain and the loop on your hook at once. Okay, that is the slip stitch join. Starting round 1, we will chain 1. And we're going to be doing half double crochet stitch for this round and for the entire pattern, and I'll show you a couple of times. And this is US terminology, by the way. The half double crochet stitch starts with a yarn over. And now we're going to insert through that very first chain right where our chain 1 is coming out of. So bring your hook down. It helps too if you're holding now the work here to create some tension, so you can work through that chain. We're picking up those top 2 loops of the chain. We're going to pull our yarn back through, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Alright, so that was 1. I'll show you again. Now we're going to work into the next chain. We're going to do just 1 half double crochet in each chain. So yarn over, insert through the chain, pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 3 loops on your hook. Okay, so now just keep going. We're doing 1 half double crochet in each chain, so you should have 28 stitches by the end of round 1, or however many chain that you started with, you should have that many stitches. Okay, this is what it looks like. So just go all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of round 1. And here's the end of round 1. Count to make sure you have the same amount of stitches as you did your starting chain, so we should have 28 here. And the way you can count your stitches is by counting either the top or on the side. So each one of these bumps is a stitch, or on the top, each one of these V's is a stitch. So you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, that's our first stitch there. And we're going to work in continuous rounds, so instead of closing off each round, we're just going to work right on to the next one. And we're going to use our tail as our landmark to where our rounds start. You could also use a stitch marker, but I find it easier to not even fuss with the stitch marker. Just know that where your tail is where we're starting the next round. Okay, and we're going to start right in the top of the first stitch from round 1. This is our slip stitch here, so don't count that. That's our slip stitch, our chain 1, and this is the top of the stitch, and we're just going to go right into another half double crochet right into the top of that stitch. Okay, now we're going to continue just doing one half double crochet in each stitch again for round 2. So again, you should have 28 stitches. So just go all the way around one more time. Okay, now we're at the end of round 2, and we're going to check our gauge here. So grab your ruler. We want to be about 3.5 inches. So I'm just right about there, because remember we had 7, this is for a 7-inch wrist, so now that we are in a circle, it's kind of like folded in half. So you should get a measurement that is half of the circumference of your wrist. And keep in mind too, if you're a little tighter than the measurement, like this is going to stretch also. So you can stretch it a little bit and then re-measure again. And you want to be right at about 3.5 inches. If you're like down by 3 inches, I mean, you can also just try it on. You want it to fit around your wrist. This is a little big for me because I have small wrists, but try it on. That's always a good indicator of if it's going to fit or not. And keep in mind that you want it to be tight around your wrist, and also it's going to stretch a little. So a couple different things to factor in here. You can also, if you're really too small, you can move up to the 4.5 millimeter hook, or you can also try to loosen your tension a little bit, although that does take some practice. If you're bigger than 3.5, you could always start with a smaller starting chain or increase your tension a little bit. So you have some options here, but we're going to keep moving, and we're going to continue this 1/2 double crochet in each stitch for 8 rounds total. So I will meet you at the end of round 8, and just keep working round and around, doing 1 in each stitch. Okay, here's the work at the end of round 8. Now you know you did 8 rounds because I'm going to show you how to count them. This is where we started, right? So this is going to be the beginning and end of each round. I'm just going to rotate this a little bit. Our starting chain does not count as a round. It's just the starting chain, okay? So each round is going to have a line of stitches, okay? So this is round 1, round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now it might look, if you went over a little bit, make sure you're not counting 9. You want to count just either on this side or this side, because these line up. You might count 9, so just be aware of where you're counting. In general, you want the straight cylinder shape. If you have something like this, you're doing great. Okay, round 9, we're going to do some increases. And we're going to increase right in our first stitch, and all that means is we're going to do 2 half double crochets in our next stitch. So do a half double crochet just like we've been doing, and now just do another one into that same stitch. Oops. Okay, so you can see now you have 1 and 2 coming out of the stitch. That's what you want. Next stitch, we're just going to do 1 half double crochet. 1. Okay, so this is the repeat. We're going to do 2 and 1 and then 1. So we're doing an increase in every other stitch until the end of the round. So now 2 in this one and 1 in the next. And just repeat that. This is the end of round 9. You should now have 42 stitches. So count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Okay? If you don't have 42, if you have less than 42, you can either, if you have like 41, just squeeze in one more stitch there. Or if you have too many, maybe you increase too many, just go back and try the row again. You want 42 stitches, okay? And now we're going to continue just doing 1 half double crochet in each stitch through round 16. Okay, so we're just going to go round and around. So we had 8, 9, now we're on 10, and we're going to do through round 16 with those 42 half double crochet stitches. Here's the work at the end of round 16. Count your rows if you need to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, and now to begin round 17, we're actually going to go back 3 stitches. And what I mean is you're going to go undo 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this is where we're going to start round 17. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 2, and we're sectioning off the thumb part from the rest of the fingers here. So chain 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to skip 7 stitches. Okay, so this is where that last stitch comes out of. So the next one would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to skip, and you're going to half double crochet into that 8th stitch. Okay, so you should have something like that. And I'm going to half double crochet just a couple more. And we're going to try it on. It's going to be something like that. Okay, and keep in mind that this is going to stretch too, so if it seems a little tight, just give it a tug and it might not be so tight anymore. Alright, this is what we're going for. And we will continue again with half double crochet, and we're going to work around just this part now. So the 7 that we skipped, we're just going to leave those for later. We're just going to half double crochet just in this section. 1 in each. Okay, we had 42 stitches before, and we skipped 7, so that would be 35, but then we plus the chain 2 is 37. So you should have 37 stitches now for round 17. We're just going to continue working 1 in each. If your yarn gets a little squeaky, I just rub my hook through my hair. A little bit of hair grease usually cures the squeak. Oh yeah. Okay, at the end of round 17, oh, I have one more stitch there. Now we're just going to work into the 2 chain, and you want to pick up the top 2 loops, and I kind of like rotate this a little bit towards me to make sure that I'm getting those top 2 loops. So that was chain 1. Here's chain 2. And it looks like a 3rd chain here, but it's actually the top of this stitch right here. Okay, so make sure, pick up that. And continue again around doing 1 half double crochet in each. You should still have 37 stitches. Okay, so now we're on row 18, and we're gonna just do 1 in each stitch until round 20, and then I will show you what to do then. Okay, this is at the end of round 20. There's our thumb hole. You can try it on. Yeah? How about that? This is a little big for me because I'm an adult small, but... Okay, round 21 only has 1 minor change. We're just going to do a decrease at this end because the way your hand is, it's going to start to like taper off in terms of a shape. So we're just going to do a decrease on the end here. And I will show you how to do that. First we're going to work just 1 in each, like we've been doing, until I get to this outer edge of the mitten. Okay, I'm at the outer edge now, and we're going to do a decrease. And this will be good practice because we're going to have to do a bunch of decreases when we get to the top of the mitten. And the way we do that, it's called half double crochet 2 together. And we do that by starting a half double crochet stitch, do a yarn over, so insert your hook, pull the yarn through, now hold here, insert through the next stitch, pull the yarn through again, and now you should have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 4 loops. Okay, that's half double crochet 2 together. So you should have 36 stitches now, and continue with 1 half double crochet in each stitch through round 29, and I will meet you there. Okay, end of round 29. Here's the bottom. Here's our thumb hole and the top. Starting in round 30, we're going to do some more decreases to close in the top of our mitten. And just like I showed you before in row 21 with the half double crochet 2 together, we're going to use that same decrease and decrease in every other stitch for the next 3 rounds. So we'll start with our half double crochet 2 together, yarn over, insert through the stitch, pull the yarn through, insert through the next stitch, pull the yarn through, yarn over, and pull through the 4 loops on your hook. Okay, now do 1 half double crochet in the next stitch and decrease in the next one, or the next 2 we'll do together. So we're doing a decrease in every other stitch. Alright, now do 1, 2 together, and 1. We're just going to repeat that until we have 12 stitches left. Okay, I did round 30, decrease in every other, 31. I'm about halfway through round 32. See, I'm still on the outside edge of the mitten. So I got about 2.5 rounds in, 30, 31, and halfway to 32, and I have 12 stitches left. This is a good place to cut our yarn and cinch this top part. If you keep decreasing until you're down to like 1 or 2 stitches, it's going to be kind of pointy on top, right? We don't want that. We want it to be rounded on top. So right when you have about 12 stitches left, give yourself like a 12-inch tail and cut the yarn. Okay, and now pull that last tail through the loop, or the tail through the last loop. Just like this. Pull it all the way through, and that is going to secure the work from coming undone. Okay, and now we will cinch the top, and this is where you need the yarn needle now. What you want to do is we're going to thread the yarn needle, kind of just twist it a little bit. Thread it through. I'm not going to tie a knot. I'm just going to leave this tail. I'm just going to hold it like this. And the way we cinch the top, as you can see here, is we're going to work up through the front loop only of each stitch. So our last stitch is coming out of here, so we're actually going to start here. And with the yarn needle, work up through just the front loop only, pull up, and now through the next one we're just going to work up through each front loop of each stitch here, and I'm pinching this here just so it doesn't pull all the way through my needle, but you do want to pull it tight here through the work. Through, turn, okay, now we're at the beginning. I'm just going to work through some of these loops again, just so there's a little bit of overlap here. Okay, and now you can just pull this and it cinches shut. Yay! Okay, now my advice now is to try on this mitten. Make sure it is a good fit. And keep in mind, we're going to be pulling this a little bit, take on and off. So if it's a little bit tight here, just give it a tug and stretch it out a little bit because it will stretch out. If needed, you can adjust the height of the mitten here by undoing your decrease rounds and either adding or undoing some of the regular rounds. So that is an option. If you're satisfied with the fit of the mitten, you can go ahead and weave in your end. Work through this top layer of stitches, pull through, continue on this side, through those last row of stitches, just want to go through one more time. Okay, and then you can also work back through. I'm in this second to last row now. It's not entirely important where exactly you're weaving in your ends, just that you are weaving them through enough rounds that your work will stay. Okay, and then I like to pull it a little bit tight, trim, then pull it out again so that end will be tucked in there. Yay! Okay, now we just have to do the thumb. Okay, now to do the thumb part, we're going to be using half double crochet again and just working around this little circle. And so grab your yarn and again leave a tail and begin with a slip knot. Insert your hook and tighten, but not too tight. Okay, and where we're going to fasten on You want to locate the last stitch of round 16, okay? And right where that stitch is coming out of, we're going to make another stitch right in that spot right there. So, I'm going to move your working yarn up here. And now insert through right where that last stitch is coming out of, that same stitch, work through there. Pull your yarn through, and with the 2 loops on your hook, just yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So that's kind of like a single crochet fasten on. You can tighten this a little bit too if you need. Okay, now we're going to be doing half double crochet starting in those 7 stitches that we skipped. It should all be right here. So now half double crochet 1 in the next 7. 1, 2, 3. Kind of helps if you like have the work like this and open it up a little bit. 4, 5, 6. Sorry, my yarn's so squeaky today. All right, we're going to squeeze 1 more stitch in right at the beginning of where round 17 starts. Right in that stitch, we're going to put another stitch. Okay, so we kind of share that stitch with the beginning of round 17. And now kind of turn your work, and we're going to work into the side of round 17 and then into the top of that same stitch. And we're going to half double crochet like 2 together. So yarn over, right? Insert through the side. So we're just going to pick up 1 loop and pull a loop through. And now rotate further. We're going to pick up the top part of that stitch, same stitch. Insert and pull loop through. Now you should have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Okay, so that kind of just bridges the gap between those 2 sides. Okay, so now this is kind of awkward to handle, but I promise just this first round is a little tricky. Okay, so now we should have the back side of those 2 chains that we made in round 17. So we're going to half double crochet into that, and we're just picking up that 1 loop now. It's like the back loop of those 2 chains we did. Okay, and this, I'm going to move this tail here because it's kind of in the way. I'm just going to like tuck it down there. Okay, now we can see a little better. We're going to half double crochet the side of, this is the end of round 16. We're going to half double crochet the side and then the first stitch together. So yarn over, work into the side, pick up 1 loop, pull the yarn through, and now work into that little single crochet fasten on we did. Pull another loop through, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on your hook. Hopefully that made sense. That was the hardest round of the whole pattern. And now we're just going to continue 1 half double crochet in each stitch, just working around this thumb part. And you should have 12 stitches here. Okay, so let's count just to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. And we're going to do 7 rounds in total here. So just go round and around, working in continuous rounds. We'll do 7 rounds of 12 half double crochet. It helps too if you have your like one finger in here, pinching the work. This is really just awkward. It's not that hard, it's just like awkward to maneuver a little bit. Okay, so just keep going around and around, and I'll meet you at the end of round 7. Okay, that's 7 rounds. That will be good. It's always a good idea to try on. Maybe you need 8 rounds. Just another way to adjust. Okay, so once that seems like it's a good height, then what we want to do is cinch those last 12 stitches together. So again, cut the yarn. Like we did before, you want to pull your tail through that last loop. Okay, and then grab your yarn needle. Thread the yarn needle. And just like we did before, I'm going to go around and pick up just the outer loop of those last stitches. Okay, and then tighten it. Great. Okay, now we just need to weave in our ends. And so you can go again, just go work through the stitches. I'm actually gonna go, there isn't like one specific way to weave in, but what you do want to do is make sure you're working. You don't want the yarn to pull back through, so I'm going to work over this stitch and then back through. Onto this side. And you want to pull this tight, but not so tight that you end up cinching like the whole top of the thumb. So make sure it's just tight enough, but not too tight. And then work back the other way. Remember, you don't want it to undo itself, so you kind of have to work over a stitch, over and under, and then back through. Right, so it catches right there. Again, make sure it's not too tight. Alright, I'm going to go back one more time. I'm going to pull this tight and then trim it. And then pull it back out again so the end goes in, and voila! You can try on your mitten, yay! And weave in the rest of your ends. And let me know how your mittens turned out. Again, this was the adult medium size, and the written pattern does include 8 different sizes. So if you would like to check that out, it's for sale on my website at lj.com, and you can make mittens for the whole family. But you're going to need 2, right, to have a set. So all the steps I showed you, start the video over and make your second mitten. And have fun, you guys. If this is one of your first projects, just don't get discouraged. Like, your stitches aren't gonna look as clean and neat, and it's okay. Like, just make another mitten and do your best. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you liked the tutorial. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Don't forget to thumbs up this video and subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date on my newest projects.